Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. We're at Carver Hawkeye Arena again. There's the Hawkeye logo, the emblem. We were here last week with Gary Dolphin. It is Tuesday afternoon, February 7th. We're before the Purdue game. I'm burying the lead. Here's Payton Sanford, everything Iowa guard. And I got to tell you, Payton, it's great seeing you again. I saw you on Zoom last year when you joined us on the show, but thanks for being here.
Of course.
Good seeing you, man.
Thanks for having me on, Dave.
You're very welcome. Thank you. So, Payton, I got to ask you a couple of questions right off the top. So much to get to that when we talk about your brother coming here, and you're kind of smiling with me, we were talking off the air about this, and I'm trying to think of a tactful way to do this. Are you going to give him the big brother treatment, or are you going to kind of ease him in? And there's a brother thing going on here at Iowa, by the way, with the McCaffreys and the Murrays and now the Sanfords. What is that going to be like for you, do you think?
I'm really excited. We grew up, we play one-on-one all the time. It usually ended either I would win or we would fight. So I never lost a game. But
now, would he tell me differently?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I want him to see this. But I kicked his butt a few times.
All right.
But, I'm really excited for him to get here. I think we're going to be really good together. He fits our system really well. Smart player, and I'm not going to take it easy on him. I'm going to welcome him here, but we expect to compete for championships, and just another player. I'm very excited to get him here, and I'm going to be a little hard on him, but I want him to be ready to go right away and be that good player. Iron
sharpens iron, right?
Absolutely.
You bet. In the family, and also, and we talked about last time when you joined us last summer, you got quite a family of basketball players, from your grandpa to your mom to your dad, and now you and Price. But I want to go a couple different places with you when you mentioned Illinois, and we can talk about Michigan State, and earlier this year, 0-3, just like last year. You start off in the Big Ten, season, and man, you had Wisconsin beat here at Carver. It was tough to watch that one, and you lose that one in overtime. And Patrick makes the big shot to send it into overtime, and then you guys lose a heartbreaker to Wisconsin, and then just stumbling out of the blocks like that. I don't want to say it's a mental thing, but do you guys, and Chris Murray kind of referenced this last week, you guys really start thinking to yourself, okay, we got to start playing, or is there a gear that goes on? What happened?
Yeah, I kind of talked to Connor on the plane after we lost to Penn State to drop to 0-3, and I just said, what do you think we need to do to get it going? And he just kind of hit on how important it is just to get one. So we had Indiana at home sitting at 0-3. We got down big early, and then we all kind of just came together. We said, this is where our season changes. So we start playing hard, playing together. And since then, I think we're on a roll. It's about 7-2, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a stretch, and we're playing a lot harder and more together.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to lead into next. So it's a switch where you just say, hey, we're stopping this right now, because I was sitting out down the hallway here at Carver Hawkeye watching that Indiana game, Indiana game, yeah, and you guys got down early, as you mentioned, and all of a sudden, whiz bang boom, shots started falling, and you guys really pressed, and that's when you're at your best. When you get it off the glass and go, that's when you guys are at your best.
Absolutely. When we're running transition, Coach McCaffrey really stresses that. That's Iowa basketball right now. That's who we are. So when we're getting those rebounds, even if they score, we're trying to get it out of the net quick, get down the floor, beat them down, and then get easier ones, and it makes offense a lot easier.
When you go through the ups and downs of a season, so your threes against Illinois, you look at the box score and go, wow, I thought Payton had more than 9 points, but they were 3 huge threes. And then Michigan State, you get the last 2 shots, and I agree with all the McCaffreys, Fran and Connor. If you're getting the last shot, Payton Sanford, I'm pretty good, and I'm happy with that. I could tell you were disappointed, but you're able to, as a competitor, shrug that off because you're going to get some the next game.
Exactly. I missed that big one at Michigan State, but I never got down on myself. The whole stretch here where we've been playing really well, I've hit some big shots, so I'm just going to continue shooting. Even that one at Michigan State, I shot it really well, just hit the back iron, and sometimes that's just the way the ball falls. Michael Jordan talks about that all the time, missing all those game winners. So I had to stay confident in myself, stay confident in my teammates, and just keep playing ball. That's how you survive the Big Ten.
That's a very mature and experience on your part, and obviously good upbringing and being trained in the basketball world. But when you take a look at something like that and what you were going through earlier this season and even last season, I remember you told me when you were on the show last year and you said, hey, I asked Coach to put me on the scout team. And then when you came back to the team or in the rotation, the run you guys were on at the end of last season and going into the Big Ten tournament was unreal. And this year, similar thing where Fran kept saying, Coach McCaffrey kept saying, I want Payton to keep shooting. He had confidence in you. That has to mean a lot to you, to where you don't have to sit there and go, geez, should I kind of maybe not shoot tonight, or should I lay off on this shot? It really keeps you in the flow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his confidence in me was the most important thing during that stretch. I mean, it was tough, but I was still getting a lot of good looks. I was playing similar to how I am now. It's just the shots weren't going in. So I haven't really changed all that much. I just decided one day at practice that I was going to focus on bringing energy, bringing leadership to the team instead of just focusing on making threes, because that makes it a lot harder. And then once I focused on that stuff, the shots started going in, and they've been going in ever since.
Perfect, because I was going to say, is there something you can tangibly say, this changed? So again, you've been known as a great ball handler, defense, assists, rebound, and Connor looks for you all the time. Your teammates did. So I'm glad to hear that. It wasn't anything that, I mean, folks, as you know, it's not that Payton's not working hard, because that's the one thing Fran kept saying too, is nobody works harder. And so you brought that energy. That's what you did.
Exactly, yeah. It started, I think, 2 days before the Indiana game. I just kind of woke up and I wasn't feeling well. Just really down on myself. It's been a tough stretch, but I just said, you know what, I'm going to bring an insane amount of energy today, see if we can turn the season around, and that's absolutely what happened. And then once the energy changed, everything else changed.
Let's talk about that a little bit with the rhythm that you guys have right now. You know, you finally get Josh Agundale back. Mm-hmm. You know, Riley Mulvey's been putting in some minutes. So besides all the stalwarts, what a game Tony Perkins had. You know, a couple of games, not just against Illinois, but, you know, you've had big games. Connor's had big games, and Chris, of course, doing what he does. Phillip, who I didn't think, but I'm glad you guys did. I knew he'd be good, but he's a double-double machine.
Yeah.
So now you're getting everybody back, and that has to help in practice, where you have a big guy, like you can practice against Josh Agundale, and you can practice against Riley Mulvey to get ready for a guy like Zach Edey in Purdue.
Exactly. Kind of like you said earlier in the show, iron sharpens iron. So it's really important to get those guys back, just at least for a practice standpoint, and then Josh and Riley are going to be very crucial to the game on Thursday night. Just bring in that big presence. They're going to battle down low, fight them for rebounds, so I'm excited to see what those guys can do.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, and we can say this as we wrap up this first segment. You talk about Josh Dix as a freshman. I mean, as you're smiling, and I don't want to leave off Aaron Eulis, so I've mentioned all the main parts you have here, main contributors, but my goodness, as a freshman, and with Patrick being out and some of these injuries, you've had to lean on other guys. DeSante Bowen getting some minutes, but Josh Dix, even when he plays 6 or 7 minutes, it's always a big shot here, and then the more minutes he gets, it's 3 or 4 big shots, and he handles the ball well. Talk about Josh Dix coming in as a freshman, because a year ago at this time, when he just had gotten surgery after that awful injury he had in his senior year of high school last year, did not think we'd be where we are this year with him right now.
Exactly. I mean, I'm really proud of that kid. Coming in, when he came in the summer, I mean, I don't think anybody around us really thought he had much of a chance of being ready to go this year, but credit to him, he worked his tail off, and he's been phenomenal in practice, and then that kind of led to him just getting more and more minutes in the game, and he's done all he can with that. He's hitting big shots, making big plays. He's defending well, so really proud of him, and I'm glad to see he's going to be awesome down the road for us.
Yeah, the future's bright. We bring in another Sanford and Price next year, your brother, and you coming back, and with a guy like Josh Dix and all the incoming with guys in the state of Iowa with Owen Freeman. I guess, they're across the state line in Illinois. Close, that's right, Quad Cities. But, with Brock Harding and Owen Freeman and the other recruits, Dembele, a lot of good talent coming in, so they'll keep the fires burning. But let's run to our first break here real quick, Payton, and we'll be back with more Payton Sanford, sharpshooter for the Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball team. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we are participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. There he is, Payton Sanford, sharpshooter for the Iowa Hawkeye men's team. They are on a roll. He is on a roll. Payton, Let's get right back into it. We talked about the team this year when we went to our last break. Let's come back in talking some more about guys, the contributions. It seems like it's coming from a different place every night. Chris Murray's been consistent, obviously. As we mentioned, Philip Rabracha being a double-double machine, but there are games you're getting big numbers and in other games just steady. Same with Josh Dix. But Tony Perkins, as you're smiling with me. And that's and even in the first half, 7 against Illinois, you're thinking, okay. But then 25 in the second half, and sometimes, Payton, you'll see a guy get that many points and you'll go, oh, really? Those were very impactful points. And I mean, he controlled that game, dominated it, took it inside. What in the world, in a great way, happened with Tony?
Yeah, I think me and him were kind of on a similar track for a while. We were struggling. We were in our own head a little bit. We knew we were great players. We both played really well in the summer and the fall, so people were expecting big years.
Yeah, if you don't mind me jumping in when you say in your own head, are you pressing a little bit too much? Expectations? What do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, I would say it's more internal expectations. I mean, we have a lot of pride. We work really hard, so it's just pressing a little bit. Just trying to make things happen instead of just letting the game come to you, which obviously against Saturday he was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It's his type of game with them sitting in the drop coverage. He's able to get to that spot in the mid-range where he's just an absolute killer, which was awesome to see. But just contributions, I mean, we're getting big numbers from different guys every night. I mean, at Michigan State, Aaron Eulis was phenomenal, and then he was good the next game too. But I mean, it can come from anywhere. Patrick's had huge nights. Connor's had big nights. Chris has been very consistent. Philip's been pretty consistent. Lately, I've been a lot more consistent, getting big numbers. So when you have that many people that can have a big night like that, it's really, really hard to scout for.
Yeah, who do you cover? And you mentioned that you and Tony had a conversation, kind of like you and Connor did. I like the fact a lot of teams will go hide it and say, this isn't happening, I'll get through this. But you guys talk about it. You bring it up and reference that conversation. You said you and Tony had a conversation similar to what you and Connor had. What was that like?
Yeah, I think we just kind of came together and just talked to each other, just showed each other some love. Like, we knew we were going through it. We knew there was a lot of season left. I mean, it seemed like we had been struggling for like 2 or 3 years, but it was really only 8 to 10 games. But recency bias is very prevalent in sports, so we just talked to each other and knew how good we were, just assured confidence in each other. And I mean, as you can see, it's really paying off now.
There are interesting ways, and I'd love to get your take on NIL, how you've used it. You really have put yourself out there with a good buddy of mine in Zoark Athletics Apparel and Connor White's, but also with the Swarm, and Brad Heinrichs was on a couple of weeks ago, and also some other spiritual endeavors. So I'm going to step out of your way and let you kind of fill in the blanks of what NIL means to you and what some of your activities have been, please, Payton.
Yeah, so last year I really didn't do much with NIL. I was really focused on just getting myself better, and I knew those opportunities would come. And then in the off season, I kind of built a name for myself. So I partnered with a few different companies. First was Estella's, the Mexican restaurant. There's one in Iowa City. I think there's one in Coralville, maybe one in Cedar Rapids. But and then with them, I started working with Every Kick Counts, or Count the Kicks. And I love Kay Safras, and she's been awesome. So now you can pledge a certain amount of money for each 3 that I make during the year. So that's been really awesome.
And you've worked on that with Torrey Taylor a little bit, the punter. Punting is winning at Iowa.
Exactly.
But we had Keith Duncan on last spring, and he talked about Kate and what the endeavor they're doing. And Keith is a very big, you worked with Keith Duncan on that as well, former Hawkeye kicking great. But continue on, please.
Yeah, so I met with Kate and Keith back when I was home in May, I think, for a couple of weeks, and they were great, and I was really interested in getting with them. Such a great cause. And then, so a lot of the money that people are donating Estella's is also matching, which is really cool to see. And then the other people I'm working with is Zoark, me and my brother Price are. So we put out T-shirts, and then we're donating all of our profits right now to Athletes in Action, which is a Christian organization. They have one here at Iowa, and I'm a part of that. And I'm really thankful for all those people, and I want to give back to them as much as I can.
Well, as I mentioned throughout every show, and this show is no different, you'll see all Payton's information at the bottom of the screen throughout the show along with mine, and so you'll see Payton's @ and be sure to go there because you're doing great work. And I've complimented Caitlin. Yeah, absolutely, you're welcome. And that's very encouraging for a lot of people who initially weren't into NIL. And it's like, well, folks, believe it or not, it's here and it's not going away. So talk a little bit about, it's also a learning process for you as well, correct?
There is. I mean, there's been absolutely a lot of learning opportunities through this, and Coach McCaffrey's been awesome with that. So throughout the summer and into the fall, we're traveling around, we're getting to meet people from the business community, get to interact, get to learn communication skills, people skills that we really wouldn't have learned before NIL, because we like by the rule we're not allowed to meet with these people.
Right.
But getting to meet all these people and then getting connections, getting set up, promoting their business while they promote us, it's really a win-win for everybody. And everyone on our team has been so active within the business community and working with charity. So I'm really excited about the opportunities we got. I mean, I know a lot of people were skeptical of it, but it's really opened some doors that really weren't possible for any of our athletes before.
I'll make the same offer to you I made to Caitlin. She said, well, I want to get into communications and new broadcasting. So I said to Caitlin, if you're looking for a partner sometime, hop on, and I'll say the same to you. If you want to look for a broadcast partner, Payton,
absolutely.
You're doing great. And like I said, the communication skills that I think what it's really done for you folks, as you mentioned, all you athletes, have really opened you up to the business community, but it's also opened you up to the folks, as they say, to the business community and us fans. And I think that's very important, and that's the spirit behind NIL, and I'm glad to see you're behind that.
It is. I'm really interested in speaking, so I gave like a big grad speech in high school. It's something I kind of want to go into, just giving motivational speeches, stuff like that. So I started working with Jordan Montgomery, and before I wouldn't be able to do that in college, but now I'm getting to, me and Chris went and spoke with the Truckers Association.
Yeah.
I have a few things lined up for in May, so I'm really excited about that, and it's just opened a lot of doors that weren't possible before.
Well, I'm going to make the offer again to you on air, like I did with Caitlin. Let's get this out early. So you're looking for opportunities, Payton. We'll
That's
partner
our
up.
first offer.
All right. Well, it's official. All right. There we go. Hey, we'll come back with more of Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, and with Payton Sanford, Iowa Hawkeye basketball shooting great. We're going to talk a little bit more about the relationships here at Iowa. Very close team, and even last year, your freshman year, the parents are close with each other. The players are, and you've referenced that multiple times. And it really is a family affair here at Iowa. Absolutely. With the Murray brothers, McCaffrey brothers, and now the Sanford brothers, but also the closeness with the women's basketball team. And I really like hearing that. And I heard Coach Fran McCaffrey mention that on his radio show last night. So I want to get a little bit more into that in our closing segment.
Sounds great.
All right, there he is. Payton Sanford. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Back with more in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. I want to let you know our family's getting big, really big. We're now offering Chevrolet's medium-duty truck lineup. Whether it's a 4500 with the custom flatbed or a 6500 with the dump body, Chevrolet has the truck we can upfit to meet your needs. So stop in and let us show you what it means to be part of the larger Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology, or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Payton Sanford, there he is, the Iowa Hawkeye shooting great, sharpshooter extraordinaire, and it's so great to see you and all the guys getting their shots back. I mean, again, we know it's a long season, Big Ten, like you said, you got to deal with it, but I love the way that even when things weren't going great for you guys and you go through those couple 3-game losing streaks here and there, you guys are very close. Just like the women team is very close, but then I love coming to Carver Hawkeye and watching you guys cheering the women on in their games, and as you're smiling with me, and the women are cheering as much or wildly as anybody else is for you guys. So talk about that relationship. You and Caitlin grew up together. She talked about playing ball with you growing up. Let's talk about them a little bit, please.
Yeah, they're very, very fun to watch, and we're the biggest supporters of each other. We see each other all the time in the weight room, at practices, so we're very close with them, but it's been awesome just to watch them. They're hot as well. I mean, they might be hotter than us, which is hard to do, but we love watching them play. They're so exciting. And then Caitlin and Monica are something else, but growing up with Caitlin, we were rivals in like kindergarten and first grade. we played a lot of ball together and against
even
each
that
other.
young.
And
that's awesome.
My dad and grandpa coached us, and we all believed that Caitlin was the best player in the league. So we did everything we could to slow her down. We were throwing doubles at her in first grade, and she still was getting 20 points.
Please tell me you weren't playing a zone in first grade.
No, we weren't playing zone.
Okay.
We were just running the double at her because we couldn't stop her otherwise. But yeah, I mean, she's been spectacular. She's so fun to watch.
So when we talk about that and NIL and the closeness of the teams and the way things are going, as you said, they're at the top of the Big Ten, and they beat Ohio State, who was undefeated, and now hopefully they can knock Indiana off. But same with you guys. You look at, I don't want to say underrated. You're used to playing against Zach Edey. Not that it's easy or you like it, but talk to us a little bit about what kind of a beast that Purdue is.
Oh yeah, they're unbelievable. I mean, their guards are special. They're just freshmen, but they're so good at getting the ball into Edey. They throw perfect passes every time. They're very physical, very smart. So they're tough to play against, especially with Edey on the inside. But we're gonna do everything we can. We have to be connected defensively. We got to run them offensively, and I think we're gonna give them our best shot. We had them beat there last year if we would have gotten a few more rebounds. So we'll hang around with them.
I'm not concerned. I'm calling it a W already, folks, by the time you see this. Because last year, again, even without Keegan, early in the season, it was those early December games at Purdue, and you remember it well. So let's then talk about the rest of the season. You've got another game against Indiana. They're going to want some for you after losing here at Carver Hawkeye.
Don't like us very much.
No, so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3-0 against them so far in my career, and all three of the games we've been down like 9 or 11 late. So I haven't been to Assembly Hall yet. We played them last year in Indy in the Big Ten tournament, and that was a pretty hostile crowd. So the two road games in Indiana are going to be pretty tough down the stretch. Hopefully
the Iowa women can warm it up for you going to Bloomington, as you mentioned,
Exactly.
Assembly Hall. And I won't get into the coaching, how Mike Woodson feels about Fran McCaffrey and vice versa. I'll leave that to them. But as you can see, Payton and I are at Carver Hawkeye Arena today with the Hawkeye logo and the emblem here. And is there some trash being talked? And I mean, obviously you all are very competitive. But again, talk to us a little bit about that Indiana game specifically.
Yeah, I think to compete in this league, you really have to have a chip on your shoulder, which we have a lot of guys who have that.
Yes.
A lot of guys have been underdogs their whole career. Chris and Keegan were under-recruited. A lot of guys on our team were under-recruited. So a lot of us have that fire. We don't really take crap from anybody. So we're out there trying to win every game. And then Indiana, I mean, a lot of those guys are the same way. They're a very good team, and we're just competitive. Emotions get the best of you sometimes. That's what makes it fun, right?
Talk about that a little bit. What are you consciously, I know you don't talk about it every day and say we're going to do this, this, and this, but that's got to be a little bit of a conversation as you go into the postseason. I got to believe that when you go into March that things need to change some.
Yeah, I think last year we got too high. Nobody ever really was able to move on because it was a really tough turnaround. We left about 24 hours after we got back from Indy. And it was a tough turnaround. We played Thursday morning. Crowd wasn't the same that it was in Indy. People were, I think we came out sluggish. We weren't ourselves. But now we've been through that. We can recognize that. We just got to have the same energy, play free, play our game, and we'll be fine.
I like to hear that. Yeah. I'd rather be, talking about this than, looking positively and saying, oh boy, we got to look out for March. But so as we close out the show, I want to talk a little bit about Patrick McCaffrey. And I mentioned how close you guys are as a team, and I keep weaving that back in and out of this show because it is such a common thread here at Iowa. And now in your team itself, what was that like for you? I'm not going to have you speak for Patrick, but what did you go through as his teammate? What did you and your rest of your teammates go through to help Patrick along with that? That, when he talked to you, did he say, hey, I'm going to need some extra time, or here's what I need? Take us inside as much as you can. I don't want to get too inside with you, but talk to us as much as you can about what that process was like for you, but also as the team for Patrick McCaffrey.
Yeah, as a teammate, it was hard to see a brother struggling like that. I mean, I really didn't even recognize anything was going on. I still thought it was normal, but I guess there were a few signs. So the only thing that I could really do as his teammate, and I'm his roommate on road trips, so I just had to be there for him. I think he just wanted some normalcy, so I just tried to continue to crack jokes and just have fun with him on road trips. But it's hard. You never want to see anybody struggle like that. So all we could do was support him, and then I think that helped our team. A lot of guys kind of tried to rally around that to support him. So every practice, every game, we were really playing as hard as we could, and then once he was ready to return, we welcomed him back with open arms.
I think that is well stated. And when you were on the road when he wasn't playing, did you still talk basketball? Did he not want to talk basketball? Like you said, you just cracked jokes. Did you keep it light? Or he seemed to be engaged when he was on the bench in street clothes. What was that like, if you could tell us, please?
Yeah, he was still very engaged. We would talk basketball in the room. We'd watch movies. We'd do everything normally like we always do. So not a whole lot changed, and him being so engaged allowed him to come back and have those 3 big threes against Rutgers, and Yeah.
That was neat to see, wasn't it?
That was
And
awesome.
I
That was
wanted you
quite
to
a
finish.
moment.
I didn't want to step in there. You're exactly right. Quite a moment indeed. And to see he's working into the lineup now and getting his minutes. So, and I've talked about this with former players. It's got to be tough for Fran times two. He's the coach, but that's also his son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I can't even imagine, because he wants to help the team be successful, but I mean, to see his son struggling like that, it couldn't be easy on him, and I think he did a fantastic job of handling it and did it really the best way he could.
Well, now you can see why these guys are so well liked, from the Bluters bunch to the Iowa women's team to Fred McCaffrey's guys and the Iowa Hawkeye men's team. Payton, I can't say thank you enough. Thanks for
Dave.
doing this,
Yeah,
man. I
no
really
problem.
appreciate it. Great to see you. You answered everything. Geez, I should keep asking. But no, great stuff from you, and I look forward to catching up with you again. And thanks again for doing it last year, but then this year, and maybe we'll get your brother on at some point when he gets in here at Iowa.
Yeah, sounds good.
I want to hear his. You're very welcome. I want to hear his takeaway.
Yeah, all right.
You kicked his butt, is what we're saying on record, though, right?
That's on the record.
All right, that's on the record. Hey, for Payton Sanford, Iowa Hawkeye sharpshooting great, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Thanks to my production partner, Michael Merrick, and to you, the viewers, of course, as always. So for Hawkeye, that's all from us. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.